Okay, let's start with a moment of real talk, just between us. If you're listening right now, I want you to just, mentally calculate how many hours of your life you have spent consuming content about money.
Oh boy, I know where this is going.
I mean, we're talking about watching YouTube videos on how to start investing, downloading podcast episodes like this one, saving Instagram posts about the perfect budget, or having like 10 browser tabs open, researching the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA.
And yet,
despite all that research, despite all that, knowledge gathering, the overwhelming truth for so many is that your actual financial accounts, your checking balance, your debt, your savings, they look exactly the same as they did 6 months ago.
That's it. That is the perfect definition of what we call money limbo. And it's this really pervasive, frustrating state to be in.
It really is.
You're fully engaged mentally, you're worrying, you're thinking, you're learning, but there's just zero movement on the ground. Your practical financial life is just frozen, trapped in that loop of research and analysis.
It has a very specific feeling to it, doesn't it? It's not laziness because you are actively putting in so much effort researching. It's more like I'm anxious about my future, but I'm too afraid of making a mistake right now, so I'll just keep scrolling for the next article.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might be paying your minimums, which is great. You're keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
But you are not making moves. You're not opening that new high-yield savings account. You're not making that first investment.
You're not attacking the debt principle.
Right. You're not calling the bill company to negotiate.
Yeah.
You're mentally working overtime on money, but practically you are just sitting still. And that standstill is often way more costly than any small mistake you could possibly make.
That is the key insight we need to drill into today. If you are listening and you feel stuck in that place of overthinking, that place that says, I'll start when I understand every single variable, this deep dive is designed to be your permission slip. We are taking the information you already have and converting it into one tiny specific action. The mission today is simple. Stop studying and make your first real money move.
And if you've been collecting financial advice like it's a deck of trading cards and you haven't actually played any of them, you are exactly who we're talking to.
I love that analogy.
And to prove this isn't some, high and mighty critique from on high, I have to confess something. For years, I was the absolute king of overthinking.
Oh, let's dig into that, because I think hearing that even the experts struggle with this, with just starting, is so profoundly reassuring. What was your money limbo moment?
It was my first proper, grown-up job right out of college. I had a 401k plan available through my employer. And crucially, they offered a 100% match up to 3% of my salary.
The free money, the thing everyone screams about.
For free money. Every single piece of advice, every podcast, every book, every blog shouts, take the match. It's literally free money. I knew the math. I understood compound interest, but when I got the enrollment form, I just stalled.
You stalled even with the promise of free money on the table. Why? What was the barrier in that moment?
It was a tag team of perfectionism and fear. I just stared at the enrollment options for weeks. I was thinking, okay, what if I choose 3% now, but what if 4% would be more optimal?
Oh, the optimal trap.
It's a killer. Then it was, which fund do I pick? Should I go 70-30 large cap, small cap? What's the expense ratio on this specific index fund? I was running calculator after calculator. I had totally convinced myself I needed to wait until I picked the perfect contribution amount and the perfect allocation strategy.
And in the real world, what was the actual cost of waiting for that supposed perfection?
Well, weeks became months. I waited nearly 4 months to enroll. If I had just started immediately contributing that 3% of my, very modest salary, the company would have matched it for 4 months.
Wow.
Let's say that match was only, $50 a pay period, which was probably lowballing it. Waiting those 4 months meant I missed out on about $400 in actual cold, hard, free money.
Just gone.
Gone. And worse, that $400 of free money could have been in the market, growing. I lost the match and the compounding growth, all because I was terrified of being slightly suboptimal.
That is such a crucial story, and that's exactly what we want to prevent for you listening today. And I want to emphasize this again. This is not a character attack. This is not a you're lazy episode. You are trying, you're busy, you are overloaded. The underlying emotion here is genuine fear. Fear of making some catastrophic mistake, of picking the wrong thing, of just doing it wrong.
We have to acknowledge that fear is natural. If you're listening and you're stuck, It's not because you don't care. It's actually because you care so intensely about not failing. And that intensity is what leads to the overthinking. We just need to channel it into movement.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We've acknowledged the feeling, but why does this overthinking actually happen? What are the psychological mechanisms that keep people frozen in that theoretical stage, even when the benefits of starting are so obvious?
Yeah, so when we work with people stuck in money limbo, we consistently see 3 heavy psychological barriers that kind of combine into this inertia field. And then there's a 4th layer that really keeps the small actions from feeling worth it.
The big 3 barriers. Okay, let's detail them out. What's the first one?
First, we have perfectionism, which is really rooted in what I call the ideal search. This is the belief, and it's usually subconscious, that if I can't do it perfectly, it's not worth doing at all.
So this is the person who's convinced that somewhere on page 17 of some dense blog post, there is the single, perfect, optimal strategy for that entire life.
Exactly. They're waiting for the best credit card, the perfect investment fund, the ideal budget system that will just flawlessly integrate into their life. But as you know, there are dozens of best credit cards.
And they all have different pros and cons, so the best is subjective anyway.
Precisely. So if they can't decide between the top 3 high-yield savings accounts, they just conclude the decision is too complex, and they stay put. They leave their money in their 0.01% standard checking account.
They're confusing optimal with effective.
That's the perfect way to put it. They choose practical paralysis over the risk of being slightly inefficient. And here's the thing. A small action today is always more effective than the perfect plan you start 6 months from now, simply because of the time value of money.
That makes perfect sense. The pursuit of flawlessness guarantees you'll do nothing, but wait, let me push back a little. Isn't picking the highest yield or the lowest fee account actually important? I mean, if I start with the wrong one, won't I feel regret later?
That's a great question, and it actually feeds right into the second barrier. But to answer it directly, yes, optimization matters eventually. But think about this. If you spend 3 weeks comparing a 4.5% interest rate to a 5.0% rate, and you only have $1,000 to save, the difference in interest over those 3 weeks is less than 50 cents.
Right.
The real cost of delaying that transfer is that you still don't have a designated safety net. The small decision of where to put it is so easily fixable later, but the inertia of not starting is the real killer.
Okay, that really reframes the stakes. So what's the second barrier? You said my question led right to it.
It did. The second is the fear of regret. And this is incredibly powerful because our brains are just hardwired to avoid negative emotions, especially the emotion of feeling stupid. This anxiety sounds like, what if I pick the wrong stock and lose money? Or what if I invest today and the market crashes tomorrow? I'll look like a fool.
It's the anxiety about that future discomfort, that future self-blame.
Exactly. The brain chooses to stay theoretical, safe in the land of what-ifs, rather than risk that future feeling. Inaction feels so much safer than the risk of failure, even though the greatest financial risk for a beginner is often not taking that first step and losing years of compounding growth.
You postpone the decision to postpone the regret.
Perfectly said. And then the third barrier is, well, it's almost universal now.
Let me guess. Information overload.
Information overload.
Yeah.
We call it the conflicting choir. We're absolutely drowning in easily accessible, yet often contradictory financial advice. You have experts on YouTube saying, maximize your retirement accounts first, ignore your debt, while someone on TikTok is screaming, pay off all debt using the debt snowball immediately.
And then Instagram is yelling crypto. And blogs are demanding you have a 6-month emergency fund before you even think about anything else.
It's chaos. And when every voice says something different, you don't know who to trust. The mental load of just trying to vet all this conflicting data becomes overwhelming.
The cognitive load gets so high that the easiest mental shortcut is just to shut the whole system down.
That's it. It's easier to do none of them than to try and reconcile 20 different urgent pieces of advice. The brain just defaults back to the perceived safety of inaction.
So you have perfectionism, fear of regret, and conflicting advice all swirling together. That's the core of the paralysis. But you mentioned a 4th layer.
Yes, the 4th layer is what we call all or nothing thinking. And this is the mindset that prevents people from starting small. It's that little voice in your head that says, if I can't save a substantial amount, why should I even bother saving at all?
Right. Or if I can't immediately afford to max out my Roth IRA for the year, I might as well just wait until I get a big bonus.
That's the trap. If the entire financial life can't be overhauled in one spreadsheet during a single 12-hour weekend session, the brain just dismisses the effort. A $10 move is deemed totally insignificant.
They missed the whole point.
They missed the most crucial point. The action, the habit formation, and the emotional momentum of starting are infinitely more important than the initial amount. Putting $10 into savings today is the start of a habit. Waiting for $5,000 to magically materialize is just procrastination dressed up as responsibility.
So let's address that core question one more time for the listener who's still on the fence. They're saying, I feel like I need to understand everything, market cycles, bond yields, tax implications, before I put in a single dollar. Is it really better to wait?
The answer is an emphatic no. And we need to gently confront this belief that money mistakes are inherently catastrophic and permanent, because for a beginner, that is so rarely true. Here's the core truth you need to hear. You do not need to understand everything to start. You just need to understand enough to take a small, safe step.
Okay, so what does that enough look like? Specifically for, say, the scared saver who's thinking about investing for the very first time.
For investing, enough looks like 3 core principles. 1, knowing that investing is for long-term goals, money you will absolutely not need for at least 5, probably 10 years.
Okay.
2, knowing that you should pick something broadly diversified, like an index fund, not a single stock. Don't try to pick winners.
And 3?
3, knowing that the market goes up and down and that you're committing to stay in for years, regardless of that short-term volatility. That's it.
So you don't need a PhD in economics. You just need the foundational understanding to choose a broad, responsible option and then stick with it through the scary times.
Exactly. And the most important part of all this is the framing shift. You have to frame the first investment or the first savings action as practice, not perfection.
I love that.
That first small amount you put in, that's your tuition. You're using it as a classroom to gain practical experiential knowledge.
Yeah.
Once you actually see the numbers move, once you get that first quarterly statement, all these abstract concepts become concrete and the fear just starts to dissipate.
That reframing helps so much because it minimizes the consequences of not being perfect. Okay, so we've defined the problem, we've got the mindset shift. Now we need to move the listener from being an informed observer to an active participant. We have to help them find their starting line right now.
Yes. So we've identified 3, I think, profoundly common starting points.
Yeah.
And we want you, the listener, to just mentally circle the one that feels closest to you, even if it's only 60 or 70% accurate. Don't worry about getting the label perfect. Just worry about identifying the immediate hurdle.
Okay, let's start with scenario A, the edge of the cliff. Who is this person and what's their emotional baseline?
This is the person who is operating in pure survival mode. They might be behind on a bill or two. They have 0 or close to 0 buffer in savings. We're talking their checking account is often below $50. The main feeling is just constant low-level dread, because they know in their gut that one unexpected thing, a flat tire, a minor medical bill, would financially wreck me. They are constantly juggling money just to meet minimums and avoid overdraft fees.
That moment-to-moment survival where you feel completely powerless because you have absolutely no safety net to fall back on.
Precisely. The core goal here is stability. It's not growth, it's not optimization. So the first real money move for scenario A is to create a tiny bit of breathing room.
So we're not talking about maxing out a Roth IRA. This is something far more immediate and visceral.
Yes. We're talking about creating a mini emergency buffer of even $50 to $100.
Yeah.
And or making one strategic phone call to a creditor if they are behind. That small cushion is a psychological safety valve that can literally reduce your stress hormones.
Okay, moving up the stability ladder. Scenario B. The manager with debt.
This person has a slightly higher baseline of stability. The bills are generally paid on time. They might even have a little money left over some months. However, they have unsecured debt credit cards, personal loans, maybe student loans, and they have no dedicated consistent savings habit or a dedicated emergency fund.
So they're paying the minimums, but the principal balance on the debt never seems to shrink very much, and they're one unexpected expense away from having to use the credit card again.
Correct. Their income supports their current lifestyle, but they have 0 resilience against surprise expenses. They're completely stuck in a cycle of paying interest without really making progress. Their first real money move needs to break that psychological pattern of minimums only, no savings.
So it's a choice. Either start saving or intentionally attack the debt.
That's right. It's either starting a small automatic transfer to a dedicated emergency fund or making one intentional extra payment toward a high priority debt. They just need to prove to themselves that they can divert money away from consumption and into actual progress.
And finally, scenario C, the scared saver.
This group is often highly informed, they're financially capable, but they are totally paralyzed. They've achieved stability and they've accumulated some savings, maybe several $1,000s just sitting in a regular checking or savings account, earning basically nothing.
Right.
But that analysis paralysis, that combination of perfectionism and the fear of regret, has prevented them from starting actual growth vehicles, retirement accounts, Roth IRAs, 401ks, or brokerage accounts.
They know the money should be working harder for them, but they're just terrified of the complexity or the risk that comes with hitting the buy button on an investment.
So their first real money move is not about saving more cash. It's about converting that sitting cash into growth. They have to open a simple, beginner-friendly investing account and make their first small contribution into something broadly diversified. The goal here is just getting that first chip on the board.
From passive knowledge to active market participation.
That's the whole game.
Okay, so 3 starting lines. A, survival mode. B, stuck managing debt with no savings. And C, scared to invest the savings they have. Now let's make this really actionable. Here's where it gets really interesting. We are moving from theory to the actual clicks and taps on your phone. We need to be so explicit that you know exactly what you're looking for on your banking app. Let's start with scenario A, the edge of the cliff. You need stability, so we're focused on the tiny buffer and the phone call.
Right. For scenario A, we have to make this so simple it's unavoidable. We have to create that buffer first. So part 1, create the tiny buffer. Step 1, decide where this buffer lives. If you have 2 different banks, great. If you only have one, do not stress about optimization right now. We are optimizing for action. Use your current bank. If deciding on the perfect high-yield account is what's paralyzing you, just stick with what you know for the first $100.
Okay.
Step 2, open your existing banking app. Look for a button that says Open New Account, Add an Account, or maybe Start a New Savings Goal.
Find that button.
Step 3, choose Savings as the account type. You might see options for CDs or money markets. Ignore them for now. Keep it simple. Just savings.
Got it.
Step 4, and this is crucial for separating it mentally from your day-to-day spending money. Give it a meaningful name. Don't name it Savings Account 2.
No, that is a small but incredibly important psychological trick, isn't it? You're personifying the protection you're giving yourself.
Absolutely. Name it Emergency Buffer or Rainy Day, or my favorite is Future Me Protection. You're labeling the money for a specific purpose, and that makes it so much harder to spend impulsively.
I love that. Okay, what's next?
Step 5, initiate one small transfer. If you only have $5 free right now, transfer $5. If you can do 20, do 20. The amount is so much less important than the intentional action of moving money from accessible spending to designated safety. You're proving to yourself you can build a safety net.
And the final step for this.
Step 6, set up a tiny recurring transfer. This is how you lock in the habit. Even if it's just $5 or $10 every time you get paid, set it and forget it. Consistency beats size every single time, especially when you're building resilience.
That one action opening, naming, and transferring $10, that's their first real move. Okay, now let's tackle part 2 of this, which I think requires a lot of emotional bravery, calling a bill company. How do we reduce the fear of rejection?
We shift the mindset again. People avoid the call because it feels like begging or admitting failure. You have to reframe it. This is an act of proactive management. It's a sign of responsibility, not a sign of failure. You're shifting from a passive victim to an active problem solver.
But what if the customer service agent is just awful, you know? What's the plan B if they just say, pay it all now or else?
That's why having a script is so powerful. Because it doesn't demand, it asks for options. If they say pay it all now, you can respond calmly with something like, I understand. If I can't pay it all immediately, are there any other hardship programs, long-term payment plans, or external resources you can direct me to? You're just asking them to do their job, which is to find a solution.
So what's the simple opening script?
The simple script is, hi, my name is Kate, I'm a customer, and I'm having a hard time financially right now, and I'm behind on my payment. I want to make this right. What options do you have for payment plans, due date changes, or hardship programs?
That's it.
By asking for options, you open the door to solutions they are literally trained to offer, like moving a due date by a week, or spreading a missed payment over 3 months, or maybe even waiving a late fee. Even an imperfect answer is a move from hiding to handling, and that is a huge victory for the Scenario A person.
I agree. That is extremely concrete. Now, Scenario B, the manager with debt. They need intentionality, either towards saving or debt reduction.
Right, so we give them two intentional options. Option one, the savings autopilot.
Okay.
If the primary anxiety is the lack of a safety net, start here. Open that separate safety net fund. Same steps as scenario A. Then, the critical decision. You have to pick a sustainable amount. So you ask yourself, what amount, $25, $50, $75, can I send automatically every paycheck that I'm 80% sure I won't just cancel in 3 weeks?
So you're prioritizing consistency over the maximum possible size.
Absolutely. The automatic transfer that happens on or right after payday is the key. You are breaking the pattern of spending everything that comes in. You are literally paying future you first.
And option two.
Option two, the intentional debt attack. If your debt is the main source of anxiety, focus here. Step one, choose one specific debt. You can choose the highest interest card. That's the debt avalanche method. It's mathematically optimal. Or you can choose the one with the smallest balance. That's the debt snowball method, which is psychologically motivating.
Let's pause there. For the listener who is stuck in analysis paralysis right now, which one should they choose, avalanche or snowball?
If the decision itself paralyzes you, choose the snowball, the smallest balance, every time.
Why?
Because you need a quick win to prove to your brain that this strategy works. The psychological reward of paying off that first small debt completely is often so much more powerful for building momentum than the few extra dollars in mathematical savings from the avalanche method. Choose the method that keeps you in the game.
Okay, that's clear. So you've chosen a debt. What's next?
Step two, log into that specific account. Find the option that says make an additional payment or just, pay more than minimum. Step three, pay an extra intentional amount. It could be $10 or $50. It just has to be an amount that is specifically designated as extra intentional principal reduction.
That physical act of paying more than the minimum must feel like you are finally fighting back.
It does. Even a $10 extra payment is a real move. You are reducing future interest, you're actively shrinking the principal, and you're proving to your brain, I am not just managing this debt, I am aggressively reducing it. That identity shift is the real game.
Finally, scenario C, the scared saver. They have the cash, but analysis paralysis is preventing growth. Their first move is starting that investment account.
This is all about simplicity and just breaking the barrier of that first click. Step one, decide on the account type and provider. If you have a workplace retirement plan, like a 401k, check for an employer matched fund. That is free money, and that is your lowest risk entry point.
Always take the free money.
Always. If not, consider a Roth IRA, if you qualify based on income, or a standard brokerage account. For a provider, choose a reputable, low-fee brokerage that's known for being easy to use.
Okay, let's do a quick ELI 5 here. What's the main difference between a Roth IRA and a standard brokerage for a total beginner?
The quick difference is how it's taxed. Money in a Roth IRA goes in after tax, but then it grows tax-free forever, and you don't pay taxes when you take it out in retirement. A standard brokerage account, you pay taxes on the growth later. For a beginner, if you qualify for a Roth, it's an excellent, powerful, flexible option. But if that decision stalls you, just choose the standard brokerage account, because starting is what matters most.
Okay, got it.
Step two, open the account. When you open it, they're going to ask for a personal info ID, social security number, employment status, maybe your income. I want to validate the feeling here. This can feel intrusive and scary, but remember, this is standard regulatory information. Just breathe through it and complete the basic profile.
Steps 3 and 4.
Choose a tiny but real contribution amount, $25, $50, maybe $100. This is the amount that gets you in the game without making you sweat over locking up all your cash. Then you transfer this amount from your savings into the new brokerage account.
And now the final paralysis point. Step 5, choose the investment.
Yes, this is it. Avoid individual stocks. Avoid high-fee, actively managed funds. Select a broad, simple, diversified fund.
Let's explain the two simplest options, target date funds and index funds.
Absolutely. A target date fund, or TDF, is a fund that's based on the year you plan to retire, say 2050. The beauty of it is that the fund manager automatically adjusts the risk down for you as that date gets closer. You literally set it and forget it.
So simple.
Or you choose a simple, inexpensive index fund that just tracks a large segment of the market, like the total US stock market. This removes that individual decision-making risk that perfectionists are so afraid of.
So by choosing something broad and automated like a TDF, you remove the stress of having to pick a winner. You're just trusting the market as a whole.
Precisely. And the key rule of thumb for this group: only invest money that you are absolutely certain you won't need for at least the next 5 to 10 years. If it's your rent money, it stays in the bank. This is long-term practice money.
We've given them the map, but that fear of messing up is still the most powerful headwind. Let's just address that anxiety directly. I'm scared I'll mess it up. I don't trust myself with this stuff, and one wrong click is going to cost me everything.
That feeling is so real, and it's rooted in thinking that all financial mistakes are catastrophic. We need to clearly define the difference between fixable, low-consequence mistakes and truly high-risk actions. The small steps we just outlined, these training wheel steps, are deliberately placed in that fixable category.
Okay, so give me an example of a mistake a beginner might make using our steps that is totally fixable and low consequence.
Sure, let's say you're a scenario C person. You chose a target date fund that has a 0.08% expense ratio. But later you realize there was an identical fund available at 0.04%. That difference is negligible on a small initial investment, and you can easily sell the fund and buy the cheaper one later. The mistake was just minor inefficiency.
Oh boy.
Or another one. You chose the debt snowball, paying off the smallest balance first, but you realize the debt avalanche would have saved you maybe $20 over the year. That $20 is a cheap tuition payment for the psychological victory you gained that kept you motivated.
So the worst case scenario in these small intentional steps is usually just slight inefficiency, not total financial ruin.
Exactly. These are not ruin your life mistakes. The greatest cost is still inaction. You are allowed to learn while you're moving.
Conversely, what truly falls into that high-risk category that they should be careful to avoid?
The truly catastrophic actions are those that incur massive, immediate, and permanent damage. Things like ignoring overdue bills and letting them slide into collections without ever trying to negotiate. Or signing up for predatory, high-fee products like payday loans or certain expensive credit repair services because someone pressured you. And for investors, constantly panic selling and pulling money out of investment accounts due to short-term market dips, thereby locking in your losses.
So if you stick to the small, thoughtful moves we've outlined, you are in the safe, learn-as-you-go zone.
And here's the key insight I really want to land. You will learn more about the tax implications of an IRA when you get the first piece of mail about your actual IRA than you will from your next 10 hours of YouTube research.
Huh?
Action generates practical feedback that research simply cannot replicate.
I love that. Action is the classroom. Okay, let's use that momentum. Now that the listener has identified their scenario and their first move, we need a structure to make sure they actually do it. Let's walk through the 7-day from overthinking to action challenge.
This 7-day structure is specifically designed to isolate tasks, so the little logistical hurdles don't stop the emotional act of starting. Day 1. Name your move. You have to commit to one specific, clear target. Write it down. For example, my first real money move this week is to set up a $50 auto transfer to my new savings account. Or, my move is calling the gas company to negotiate my payment plan. Specificity is power.
A single, non-negotiable focus. I like that.
Day 2. Gather what you need. This is the purely administrative day. No emotion allowed. Collect your logins, your passwords, your account numbers. If you need to download a brokerage app, do it today. If you need to find a customer service phone number, get it today. The goal is to eliminate every single logistical excuse.
You're isolating the emotional difficulty of day 3 from the boring administrative friction of day 2.
Exactly. Which brings us to day 3, do the thing day. You give yourself a dedicated, focused window, maybe just 20 minutes, and you complete the first move. You open the account and initiate the transfer. You log into the investment app and make the contribution. You call the bill company, you read the script.
This is the day the heart pounds. What if they freeze up?
If you freeze up, I want you to remember this phrase: act while scared. The pounding heart is just your nervous system reacting to something new. You breathe through it, you make the clicks, and you prove to your nervous system that this new action is safe. You have to complete the action, even if it feels imperfect.
Okay. Day 4. Notice.
This is the emotional check-in. Just notice how you feel immediately after completion. You might feel relief, pride, maybe some anxiety, or even regret, like, why didn't I do this years ago? Acknowledge those feelings without judgment. But that feeling of relief that comes from just doing the thing is what we want you to lock onto.
Day 5. Normalize.
This is all about the identity shift. You remind yourself, I made my first real money move this week, and this is just something I do now. You're establishing a new baseline behavior for yourself.
You're turning the action into part of your identity.
Correct. Day 6, reinforce. If it was a one-time move, like a phone call, check the account or the plan to see the result and remind yourself, I handled that successfully. If it was a recurring move, just make sure the schedule is set. Or better yet, slightly increase the recurring amount by $5 just to reinforce the new habit immediately.
And day 7, Decide your next tiny step.
Use the momentum you just built. Ask yourself, what is the logical next small move from here? If you started saving, maybe the next move is to choose one credit card to focus on. If you made your first investment, maybe the next step is setting up a recurring monthly investment. Don't start a whole new massive plan, just take the logical continuation.
The power of that 7-day structure is that it moves you from this massive, overwhelming project, fix my entire life, to 7 small, manageable tasks.
It shatters the all-or-nothing thinking loop. You are now measuring success by, did I take a real action that moved money and taught me something? Not by, did I perfectly stick to a massive budget for a whole year?
I want to talk about that emotional hangover again, that regret trap, that voice that says, I wasted so much time, I should have started years ago. How do we prevent that regret from becoming self-punishment?
That feeling is actually motivation that's just masquerading as self-criticism. You have to use that energy as fuel, not as a weapon against yourself. Instead of focusing on the past, ask, imagine where I'll be in a few years now that I've started. You focus intensely on the progress you are creating today.
It's about self-compassion, really, acknowledging the person you were.
Yes, that past self was anxious, they were scared, and they were trying to survive in a complicated world. They got you to this starting line, and you should thank them for surviving. You can literally just say, thank you for getting me here, I'll take it from here. Money work goes so much better when you're your own financial partner, not your own worst critic.
And for the person listening who has tried to start before, who downloaded the apps, made the spreadsheet, and then quit after 2 weeks, what makes this attempt different?
This attempt is different because the goal is so much smaller and clearer. You are not trying to become a financial guru overnight. You are just trying to complete one specific, singular move in 7 days. Your metric of success is the completion of that action, not adherence to some perfect multi-month plan.
You're measuring success by action taken, not duration maintained.
Exactly. If you take that one real action, you've already broken the overthinking loop. That first moment of action creates emotional momentum. And that emotional momentum, that feeling of relief, of competence, of control, is the most powerful tool you have for continued learning and progress.
All right, we have covered a massive amount of ground here. We've defined money limbo, we've dissected the 4 barriers, outlined the 3 starting scenarios, detailed the first real moves for each, and given you the 7-day challenge structure.
I just want to solidify the core lessons for you. First, overthinking your money means you care and you're overwhelmed. It does not mean you are lazy or fundamentally bad at this. Second, you don't need a perfect plan. You need a small, safe action that makes your situation slightly better today than it was yesterday. Third, tiny moves count. Opening a savings account and putting $10 in it is a critical, real move.
That's a huge move.
Fourth, most beginner mistakes are fixable, and action teaches exponentially more than research ever can. Use these small steps as training wheels, not as performance tests. And fifth, and this is maybe the most important, taking action shifts your identity from someone who avoids money problems to someone who's actively figuring this out.
And to add 3 final thoughts to that. Number 1, you are allowed to be a beginner at any age. It doesn't matter if you are 22 or 62. There is no age limit on starting to build a better financial foundation.
So true.
Number 2, your only job this week is to take one real step, not to become a financial adult. Keep the scope narrow and manageable. And number 3, act while you are scared as long as the move you're making is small, thoughtful, and fixable. Fear is not the signal to stop. It's the signal that you're doing something new and important for your future self.
That is the essential distinction. You are not behind. You are starting.
So here is our final challenge for you this week. We want you to complete the full 7-day action checklist. Name your specific scenario, choose your singular small move, gather the info you need on day 2, and then dedicate 20 minutes on day 3 to simply doing the thing.
And if you complete it, even if it's just moving $5 into a new account or making that difficult phone call, you have won. Celebrate that action. The emotional momentum of that first step is the most powerful tool you possess right now.
You don't need to think your way into a new life. You are going to do your way into it, one small, imperfect action at a time. Now go make that first real money move this week.